All right, Ian, feel free to jump in anytime.
And West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where I spent most of my days.
No!
Thing is I, boom.
God damn it. Anyway, welcome everyone.
Pretty sure Will Smith met Jaleel White, right?
Did he?
I don't know. Let's go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Sonic Comic Chaos. I'm your host, Silver1. Joining me as always, my co-host Ian Waffles. Ian, say hi.
Hi.
All right, today we've made it, folks. It's wacky, it's wild, but this is the last real arc of the main Sonic the Hedgehog comic.
Indeed.
This is like the last time we're gonna get to see the Freedom Fighters like go on an adventure together. It's wild, but that is what it is. However, before we get into that, we do have to return to our world famous segment, Ian and Ace read your comments. We don't have a ton because I'm lazy and haven't been uploading the episodes on time. So sorry about that.
Where are you getting these comments?
I have comments. I have some comments in reserve. Don't you worry.
All right, good.
This one is oh god, I had it. Where was it? Oh no. Okay, I found it.
Ian, the reserve's empty. Abort.
Reserve's empty. Roland Arellano wrote good with a thumbs up. So thank you, Roland.
Hey, great. Awesome. Outstanding. Amazing.
That game's fucking trash. Anyway, and then from New Dawn Horizon, I'm not sure if we read this last time. I don't think we did, though. I feel like I would remember if we did, because I feel like there will be things to be said about this. From New Dawn Horizon, you can't trust anything Flynn says, because he said that the only reason the Freedom Fighters made it into the reboot is that they were grandfathered into the comic.
I mean, I have heard him say that. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, I guess I would believe it, simply because you could definitely feel like, well, I've always had this theory that during Worlds Collide, they were like in the background kind of making the decision of whether or not they could even use the Freedom Fighters, much less if they wanted to keep using them. Because in that arc, you might recall, Ian, no Archie characters show up whatsoever.
Yes. But they're also they were probably also redesigning them, I'd probably say.
Well, there's that, but also the only even slight references we get to Archie Sonic characters are you see like half of the capsule Snively's in with his name like half cut off.
Yeah.
And when they refer to Sally, they call her Mecha Sally.
Yeah, they show Mecha Sally. There's a little shot of...
Yes.
Yeah.
They show Mecha Sally, and they show like some alternate world, and they have them like getting some flashes of like their memories of like the previous pre Genesis Wave world. And Tails goes like, "Who's Mecha Sally? Not who's Sally?"
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And I think that the reason they're doing that is because Mecha Sally is legally distinct enough from Sally to where they can say that.
Well, I mean, there was never any question of if they could use the Freedom Fighters, because the Freedom Fighters are just unequivocally owned by Sega, because they own the Deke characters. But yeah, no, I get what you mean, where it's like Mecha Sally rather than just like, what was Sally? Something like that. But I see what you mean. I will say, I do think that the point of the arc was that, because obviously, like, they don't plan out these crossovers. They just tell Ian Flynn, you're making a crossover, and then he goes, okay, how long until then? So like, to me, I think what probably happened is that, because if we recall, Blaze and Silver are also in this story, and they just kind of act like they know each other, and all this other stuff. The Chaotix are a detective agency. That is not true in Preboot. So like, there's a lot of things. To me, what this reads like is that, and also Sonic's running through Green Hill. Green Hill doesn't exist in Preboot. So I think what's happening is that they wanted to market the Mega Man Sonic crossover to just Mega Man Sonic fans in general, because obviously you want everybody to be able to read this. You don't want anyone to be confused, Oh,
absolutely.
So I think they only stuck with game canon stuff, because even Mega Man has some plot stuff going on in his comic. and that's just kind of completely. Literally in the Mega Man comic at that time, they are not friends with Zero. Is his name the red one, right?
Proto Man.
Proto Man. Yeah, sorry. They're not friends with Proto Man at that point, but in this they are. Like they already know him, you know, because if you've played the games, you know that they're friends.
Yeah. I think I don't think they're mutually exclusive. Is basically what I'm getting at. Is I think that there was discussions being had behind the scenes of are we ditching these characters, and I think it just happened to coincide with the fact that like and that'll keep things simple for the game fans is what I think it was.
It kind of works as a buffer.
Yeah, but all right. Okay, now the reserves are depleted, so I need to get off my ass and upload some more episodes. But anyway, it is time for us to get in to Archie's Sonic the Hedgehog number 284, Panic in the Sky, Part 1. It starts off, first of all, I don't know if this was intentional, but Metal on the cover is doing his like Sonic OVA pose.
Yeah, or he's like T-posing.
Yeah, a little bit. So starts off, and the Freedom Fighters, they're getting a little big for their britches, because they're like, well, we got all the emeralds, we got all the Gaia keys, we're gonna fix the shit out of this planet. So let's celebrate. And they're like, but Sonic, we haven't actually won yet. He's like, well, we've basically won.
Yeah.
And then Nicole's like, oh, why is all our shit fucked up? And everything starts going down. Because Tails doll, who that was set up really early on in Reboot, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, it was pretty early.
I feel like was it the one where we get like the tour of the Sky Patrol where like Rotor's like, and here's this, and then they fight the big robot at like Walrus at the end. Is that where we first see that Tails doll was inside Sky Patrol? I think it was.
I don't remember, but I do know you're right in that it was set up quite a while ago.
Yes. But so Tails doll, he's knocked out all their systems. It's real bad. And so it starts crashing. And then all of a sudden, the Battle Fortress, flagship of the Battle Bird Armada, comes crashing in. And Ian, it's at this point I realized that I had no idea who the Battle Bird Armada were. Because they were in the last arc we talked about. They were in Eggman's Dozen. And you kept talking like they were someone I should know, and I kept just kind of smiling and nodding and going, "Yeah, And then I was reading this, and like there's like a sun, and there's like who are these people?
And you're just like Ian was right, but when were they going to explain this to me? Yeah, I mean they're just from Tails' Adventure on the Game Gear.
Okay.
In Preboot, they had 2 arcs where they would have been like they got set up and all that kind of stuff. But in this, you just have the Battle Bird Armada leader guy in the Eggman's Dozen arc. He was the one with all the bombs, obviously. And then, here they're just like, whoa, Speedy's coming after us. And I'm like, guys, nobody knows who Speedy is unless they read Preboot.
Yeah, which I did several years ago.
Indeed.
I was also wondering, because like, okay. So I know one of the last Sonic Universe arcs, wasn't it that like the jet, like wasn't it the Babylonians coming and fucking shit up?
With the Battle Bird Armada.
Okay, well they're all birds, Ian, and so it was
I know. I mean, well, they're the Babylon rogues are literally called that because the Armada are descendants of Babylon, so they are rogues from that faction.
Okay, so I kept being confused because I also know in Treasure Team Tango, Bean is like, "Hey, Jet, we're related, aren't we?" And so it's very confusing. But okay, that makes sense.
Well, it's just because in Preboot, all birds are aliens, so
I guess that's fair. All birds?
Seems that way. Seems like the bird species, at the very least, is our aliens.
So then, what happened to the birds that were like got the gene bomb goo on them?
Well, sorry, I guess I mean like probably like the Mobian birds, like the sentient ones.
Yeah,
obviously there's like normal birds in the same way there's like normal dogs. So
no. But I mean, like when the gene bomb went off and the goo went on to like hedgehogs and echidnas and cats, presumably it also went on to birds.
No, I've been missed.
Missed?
I don't know. You're probably right. It's probably just like a mix where it's like some birds of because I don't think they specify all. They're just like, oh, the Babylon Rogues are alien freak losers. Get out of here. Sonic's like, I hate you. And then he tries to murder them. It's pretty great. So
yeah. Anyway, whatever, that was wholly irrelevant to everything that this arc is about. But
I mean,
anyway,
I guess your point. I mean, I can add to it. Would the idea be that like when they like beat the shit out of our heroes, you were just like, okay.
there is partly that. Well, it's again, it's largely just like, oh no, not the Battle Bird Armada. It's like what?
Yeah. So that way we can wrap around to this. I felt like the first issue was pretty much just like really dull because it doesn't feel like our heroes do anything to act like it doesn't feel like a curb stomp in a satisfying way of like, man, we're fucked. Like, what do our heroes even do? It just kind of feels like, yeah, okay. So on this page they get this thing, and on this page the villains get this thing, and then on this page the villains get that thing. All right, issue's over. We're fucked. Now we lost. Like, it doesn't feel like we were defeated, if that makes sense. It just feels like the story told us we lost this issue.
It feels like you were trying to cut through an alley on your way home from work, and you just got like punched in the side of the head, and you're like, like,
ow!
It's it's not like devastating. It's just like, oh, gee, okay, sure, like whatever. It didn't feel like it had proper because all that happened was last issue, Eggman went like, they're gonna try and fuck me over, I'm gonna fuck them over, and then he does,
and then he just does it. Yeah,
I think if there was more of a build up of like, he's collecting information from the Tails doll, I feel like if there was like a bumper at the end of like multiple issues of like, okay, they got the Gaia keys, all right, okay, they got this thing, okay, this is their plan, and then at the end, and then he's like, all right, everyone go, and like you can see kind of the payoff of that.
I think if all of the egg bosses, which we would fill up from the Eggman arc, if it was just all of them, and I mean like the leaders, right? Then I would like if they all jumped into the crew and it's like, oh, it's like we don't even know who half of you people are. It's like, yeah, there's more than just Eggman out there, and they just kick our asses. Then I feel like that would be good setup for the series going forward, because then we would know their heroes would know that these guys are actually not pushovers. But then also it would just make sense to the audience, conceptually of like, oh, I saw a whole arc where these guys were like big monsters and like fought the witches and like we're doing all these crazy things. So I buy that like they're all doing something,
Yes.
Whereas instead it's just not the birds. Oh gosh. I think what makes it worse is that the leader guy doesn't even go in. Like, it'd be one thing if he went in and wrecked their shit, but like he just stays inside and he's like, go Speedy, and then you're sitting over here like, yeah, whoo, Speedy checks notes. Where did he come from?
yeah because I just didn't know really much about these people, so I was like, I guess the Battlebird Armada are like hot shit.
Well, to give you a cool idea of the Battlebird Armada in Preboot, when we first meet them, they're just kind of chilling out, and then they don't realize that like our heroes are there to like fuck them up because they find Bunny, and they're like, oh yeah, like we just work freelance for Eggman, like we're not part of his main forces, you're like one of his Legion people, right? And she's like, absolutely. And so they get a bunch of information from them and like screw over their stuff, and so you're just kind of like, you don't get a sense of like, oh, like we were actually sneaking under the noses of these really powerful people. But then when they come back later, they have the Battlebird guy come out, and he drops from the sky like a shonen character and destroys the top of a mountain, and then beats the shit out of the Babylon Rogues in like one shot. And then he starts crushing Jet's windpipe, and they're like, okay, you can have our stuff now.
Oh man, that is cool. But again, like you said, if you haven't read Preboot, which like a lot of people, this was a jumping on point for people they wouldn't have. It's like, oh yeah, they're birds.
Well, and also most of the characters in Reboot aren't the same. Like the Freedom Fighters aren't the same. So like, why would I just assume anything?
Exactly.
So yeah, but that's also, I know we're going beat by beat for this issue, but I do think that's my ultimate critique with this issue. Was I was just reading, and I finished it, and I went, okay.
Well, I think also there's a couple problems with this. This feels very similar to what they do a lot in Power Rangers.
Really?
Where, well, at the end of a lot of seasons of Power Rangers, they'll end with destroying the base. Like they'll end with Turbo is the most famous one, where it ends with the villains like charging the Ranger base, and they destroy it, and then the heroes are at their lowest moment, but then they're able to rise back up. I think SBD does it too. These names mean nothing to you because you don't know Power Rangers, but regardless,
Turbo, he like screwed over Vanellope, right? And Wreck-It Ralph beat him up.
What? No, what? The difference with those, anyway, ignoring that, is that first of all, it's the base that you get to know and care about the base in those shows, and also the villains have been set up to be, oh, we beat them every week, but now they're kind of rallying their forces, and now they're hitting us where it hurts. Whereas here, it's like, I don't really care if the Sky Patrol or if Mobitropolis like gets trashed, because we've not really spent much time there.
Big ship.
And yeah, and we don't. And again, like the villains are. I was glad to see the Hooligans again. They're
I always like them.
And it was cool seeing General be cool again. But like, yeah, it didn't. I feel like there was a certain impact I should have felt that I didn't. Is probably the best way I could put it.
Yeah, it just kind of feels like, well, we spent all these. I think the idea would be that, like, oh, you read all 30 issues or so, and like they spent all this time getting the Chaos Emeralds, but no, he comes back and in one fell swoop he's able to get us. But again, I just feel like that would have worked better if it was anyone I fucking knew. Like,
yeah,
Well,
and also if it wasn't them being colossal morons and literally putting all their eggs in one basket, because like we don't see them go into the vault and get the emeralds and the keys, but it looks like they were just all in one box.
They were all just there being guarded by no-name nobodies and Nigel Thornberry. So it's just like, and then also like, just they I don't know. All the heroes just look really lame. Like,
yeah.
And again, not in a Eggman has so much overwhelming force. What could we even do? Because that happens a lot in Preboot, where I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck you do against Enerjack. He's God. But but in this, it's just like, oh, Bark beat up Sally's dad. Well, that was our best defense, I guess.
yeah. It doesn't really feel like our hero's like lowest moment in the way it should have.
Yes.
But regardless,
also, it doesn't help that Chip is like, because I remembered it as Chip being like, I'll go with you, just don't hurt my friends. But no,
oh god,
he's just an idiot, and he's like, I'll fight you, and then they're like, stupid. Chip, you idiot, and then he gets captured. I'm like, oh my,
he just is Scrappy Doo.
I hate this character, and they try to. I mean, we'll get to it later, but yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so Phage is there, and so we have this kind of thing where, on the physical front, we got the Battlebird Armada, we got all these different villains. Then on the digital front, we have Phage taking care of Nicole. I will say, I like Phage.
She looks cool.
Yeah, like maybe not. I mean, we talked a lot Phage to death in that episode, but in terms of the least design and this little thing she does, where she'll say a thing and then she'll say two synonyms for it. Like, I think that's cool. Like, like
it's line of, like,
it's time for you to expire and die. It's like, oh, that's neat. But regardless, yeah, I will say we'll get to that later. There's a line where, well, no, I'll talk about that more when we actually get to the bit. But so yeah, everything's going to shit, and Sally says something to the effect of, I mean, I wrote down the quote. This is the most coordinated attack we've ever faced, and I went, and I literally wrote, "Don't oversell it."
Well, we've got to do it quick. They're bum rushing us. We've never faced anything like it.
They're bum rushing us. Yeah, I would say, with the exception of like Phage taking out Nicole, none of this is that coordinated.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it's so stupid. Yeah, they just,
like, it's actually very simple. Like, I feel like I could have come up with this plan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's literally just Eggman called somebody up and said, "Hey, can you go beat up Sonic for me?" He's like, "I ain't doing anything else today," and then he just did it. And Sally's just like, "Wow, they really got us there."
Yeah, it's just like, okay, Phage, take care of the computer. Metal Sonic, you take care of the other robot, and then everyone else, we're just going to the castle. It's like, okay, that's cool. But yeah, no. What my next note was just yay hooligans. And then
yeah, they're fun.
They called the royal, like, protectors or whatever they're called, the guards, the Royal Jobber Squad.
The Royal Jobbers,
which I think is, I mean, that's gotta be like I assume that's like a meta thing of like, because I assume what a jobber is, right? Like, in terms of
they're just goons designed to get beat up and lose.
Yeah, they're there to show how strong the enemies are. But so, yeah, I thought it was funny. And then my next note is, remember when Gemerald was fun? I remember when General was fun.
No. When was he fun?
I like him here. And I liked him every time he showed up.
I thought you were saying like this wasn't fun, and you're like, man, I remember when General was cool. It's like he's not even in Preboot. Like,
No. I mean here. I mean he's not fun
like,
now.
Is he thinking of Shard? Like,
no. I mean now when he's like just a emotionless machine, he's not fun.
Yeah, he actually. Yeah, I was surprised. Like, it was throwing me off because I've been rereading some IDW stuff. It was throwing me off so hard that he was like just like he was stuttering, or he would say different things, or he had emotions, or he'd be like, "You jerk, erg," and I'm like, Who are you? I was like, "Oh right, I forgot you used to be a person."
Yeah. Also, I love who's the artist on this? Real quick, Deanna Skelly. I absolutely love how I assume she. That sounds like a girl name. Draws General.
Oh yeah, he looks dope, and Metal Sonic.
Metal Sonic looks dope too, but we see Metal Sonic a lot. We don't see General very often. I think it's the eyes. I really like the big eyes on him. Yeah, I also just love General's design, like, period. I wish we saw him in more things.
I like to praise the hooligans again. I really like the part where Nigel Thornberry is attacking them, and they're like, "Bean, blast the vault," and he just kind of like casually walks by. He's like, "All right, let's go and do it now."
Yeah,
like he's got like sweat beads coming down his face. Like, hopefully he doesn't notice me. Oh shit.
yeah. I will say this was a cool moment for King Nigel. It didn't amount to much, but it's.
But he tried. He did more than Max ever did, which was
Max.
I mean, Max accomplished more. Like, he almost got his kingdom killed at least 3 times. So
Oh,
that's a lot. But Nigel, he's working in his way up in the opposite direction. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I will say he's probably, in terms of the major characters, he's definitely the most different. And I guess he's technically supposed to be different because obviously the other guy was King Max and blah, 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 blah. But I think I like both characters for very different reasons, because obviously I think Max works well as kind of an antagonistic force. Not like a villain, but just, he's usually getting in the way of what our heroes are trying to do. Whereas,
he's kind of a villain, but I get you.
yeah, a little bit. But Nigel, Nigel's just been cool. Like, Nigel's just like fun.
Yeah, I appreciate he tried. It's not his fault he was in a crappy issue.
Well, there's that, and also like they come up, he's sipping some tea. He's got his cool like hollow shield. Like,
yeah, his hollow stuff looks sick.
Yeah, it's really cool.
The Acorn symbol on it. By the way, we also get the last time we get to see Nicole's kick-ass overclocked mode, which I love looking at. I love it so much.
It is very cool.
And I'm sad that no one else will ever get a super form ever again.
Yeah. But hey, my favorite character still has one. So
hey.
But yeah, so they get the shit, and General gets tackled to the ground by a bear and a rabbit, which I feel like shouldn't work, but whatever. Power scaling's dumb anyway. And so they get the box, and again, like this, it feels like they just had it all in a box in a room, and we're like, what could possibly go wrong here? Like,
yeah, also, Dad's watching it.
Wait a goddamn minute. Mobotropolis is supposed to have a force field around it.
Not in this universe.
But why would it not?
Not in this universe.
But it should though, right? Like logically.
No, because it's not made of robot anything.
Okay, but you could still put a force field around a real city.
Yeah, but the reason you don't do that is so that you don't.
So the villains can attack.
Yeah, so the villains can attack. So. It's fine. But to me, that's one of those things where it's like the reason the force field worked in Preboot is because we had like gods to fight, and so like they could just come in and be like, "Fuck your shield," and it's like, well, damn it, like I don't, you know. So we like had reason, like we had ways for other characters to break through it that didn't require much thinking. It was just like Eggman makes a giant fuck off beam. What are you gonna do? Block it? Or we have the Iron Queen. She can like take it down or whatever. You have the Battlebird Armada that use like technology, and it's also like way later in the series. Whereas like if you just have the shield here and we have like 22 pages, fuck you. They just don't have a shield. So.
Well, yeah, I guess. Well, again, here's the thing. What would have happened if they had a shield is Phage would have taken down the shield like that. Like,
there's ways to work around it easily. Yeah, like you said.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, again, for the logic of without the force field, it is literally in a box in a room. Like all the shit.
Yes.
Okay, but regardless, my next note is, we already covered this. My next note was, should I know the Battlebird Armada?
You asked it every time.
Yeah, so they're fighting, and then Chip's a goddamn moron. So they're Sally's fighting people, and Chip's in a cell, and he's like, I'm gonna fight you, and then he gets kidnapped, and immediately he's like, oh no, someone save me! It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like again, I imagined a way better scenario, which was just him being like, "Don't hurt her. I'll go with you." You know, just being selfless.
Yeah, but no, nope.
Just
But
them.
yeah, but then we get
Oh,
a
well.
fun. I feel like this is the second time they've done this joke, but I don't exactly remember it. I mean, Tails says literally, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but like he's like, why does Sonic get Metal Sonic and I get that fucking thing? But
I
he's referring
noticed
to
that
Tails
too.
though.
That joke is in the IDW 30th anniversary. So either Flynn is just reusing material, or more likely he just forgot because it's an easy joke to make. It's funny. I like it.
It's a funny joke. I like it. But yeah, and then meanwhile Nicole, she uses her overclocked form. And yeah, it looks really cool, and Phage looks really cool. And there's a little thing where it's like overclock Nicole, and this is blast processing. Which I think that's a fun little
I like
wink
it.
and a nod. I don't exactly get what there's like a microphone and a light bulb symbol and like a Wi-Fi symbol around Nicole. I assume
her checking her settings. Make sure
oh,
everything's good to go for the stream.
okay. In my defense, like you said before we started recording, there's a lot going on.
I know. So I was gonna say, do we want to talk about that now? Because I feel like this issue is like kind of this one and the final one are kind of where it happens the most. But I think it's a recurring.
I would say this issue is probably the worst offender. So
yeah. So I really like the artist who did this. She did the Fighters arc, and there I thought it was really, really, really good. However, I think the art. Well, you know what? I don't think it's the art. I think it is the coloring. The coloring is too flat, and therefore, or like the colors are, there'll be just like one solid color and then a solid color for the shading. And there's no kind of in between. There's no kind of depth or like shading like that. So when you're looking at all these crazy things happening, plus all the talking, because there's a lot of talking, your eyes will look at a page and just like there were plenty of times where, and I was reading this physically too, and I was just looking, I was like, I had to put it down for a second, be like, okay, hold on, let me brace myself. So I don't know how you felt about that, or I do, but I'm gonna ask you again because now we're recording.
Well, again, to quote George Lucas, which is something I very often like to do, it's so dense. Every single scene has so many things going on. Because my God, just looking at any page, there's like 12 characters punching each other. Also, to add on to what you were saying about the coloring, it's very saturated.
Yes.
Which I think probably doesn't help a lot.
Hurt your eyes.
Yeah, well, because like with I mean, we've talked about this before in I think the last main book episode we did. In Preboot, the colors are, I mean, there's some instances where they're pretty saturated, but they're usually duller. Usually going for kind of a more. Go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're duller, but also like I just went to the Darkest Storm arc, which has like a very unique art style as well, and there's a lot going on. However, what Preboot often did is it had a very cinematic way of telling its stories. Like they would use these shots that would like communicate something, whereas like, and it would flow too. Like it would be like, oh, we're moving around the scene, and just as well, I'm looking at it, and like there is actually like nuance to the shading. Like I'm looking at Sonic right here on page 1 of Sonic the Hedgehog 162, if you want to look at it. And Sonic is like clenching his fist and all that kind of stuff, and you can see like a blocky shade for his quills, but then there's also like a very blurry shade for the top of his quills that show light, and so that gives you a nice gradient going down his body that makes him feel like he has more depth to like looking at him, if that makes any sense.
Oh, absolutely. And sorry, go on.
So I was gonna say, so with this, it feels like it's just those blocky colors, and like you said, really saturated, and the way it's I would say, I guess, directed. I don't know what the proper thing would be. It feels just more like every shot is an excuse to show the wildest looking pose overlapping another wild pose, and it can kind of just get a little too much.
Yeah, I can also, well, I don't know, because I don't know how like coloring and shading works exactly. Well, I guess shading would be the pencils, right? That doesn't come down to the colors typically, or the inker, right?
I'm not sure. I don't really care whose fault it is.
No, but no, I'm not trying. This is not to assign blame. This is me saying like because there's so much going on in this issue, and there's so much that needs to be drawn in fairly decent detail. It's likely that if the shading were the job of the penciler, that would just kind of go that could get left by the wayside just because there's so much that needs to get done.
Yeah, because they don't skimp on backgrounds a lot either.
No.
So like there's usually like always something going on in the background. They don't usually do like, oh, we're just gonna make it a color, so you can focus on the characters. Like there's always something happening, and I feel like it's just a bit too much.
Yeah,
again,
a little bit.
Especially since there's so much talking. So like even if like the scene maybe isn't actually that busy looking, you have all these speech bubbles and they're just talking about things that again, it's just moving the plot, but not in like a character driven way. So then you're just kind of sitting there being like, this is what's happening over here. We are going to do this thing. And then we have set up this thing for this thing. And then you're like, then there's like 50 fucking characters on screen. And then you're like, oh my gosh, my eyes.
Yeah, but no, I feel like we talked about that. I agree with you completely, but it's a lot.
That'll be a general point that's a general knock against the arc for the whole thing, I would say. And we'll just say that.
Although I feel like we should clarify just for people who maybe weren't listening the closest. This is not us saying that the art is in any way bad. No,
because I loved it for the Fighters arc. And to be fair, the final issue of this arc is drawn by Tracy Yardley, and I think it looks just as bad. So, so something was going on.
Yeah, and there are plenty of individual shots I like. Like I like it's really just one. It's relegated to one page, but the Metal Sonic General fight, I really like the way that looks. Regardless. But yeah. So then we get a line from Sonic that I really like, where they're escaping with Chip, and he goes, "Bunny, throw me," which I just thought was fun. But and then he's falling to his death. The Sky Patrol is gonna fall into some lava. Shit's going bad. Oh no. And then the off panels, whatever. It's just a joke about wearing your seatbelt on planes. I will say, except for this one, the off panels I thought were on point for this arc. But we will get to that in a moment. So moving on to Sonic the Hedgehog, number 285, Panic in the Sky, part 2. So Sonic still falling. Everyone else still falling. Not good. my first note is it's now when I realize I don't care even a little bit about Chip.
Yeah, no, because he's done 0 for the whole comic.
Yeah, well, it's not even so much that he's done 0 in the sense of like being effective. It's that we haven't gotten any time.
Oh yeah, he is nothing as a character. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's like the fun little sidekick friend, but like we haven't. Again, they tried to
minus the fun.
Yes, but like they tried in the last arc to have like a scene where he was like, "Oh yeah, I spent all this time with you," and showing him like playing video games with like Sonic, or like doing fun, like getting read a storybook by Sally and Nicole. But like those things didn't actually like happen. So
don't lie to me, Chip. You don't have any friends.
But like you don't get to like speed run him like having bonds with these people and expect it to have the same effect when what ultimately happens at the end of this book happens.
Yeah.
But like,
and we'll get to that, I think, when we get to his send-off, because I have more to say about him there, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But so they're able to get the Sky Patrol flying again. I can't remember because it's not revealed yet that Nicole isn't dead. So I don't know if that's a Rotor thing or fucking whatever. Who cares?
Well, I was gonna say they have the thing of like she's dead, and then like literally the next page is like, cool. And it's like, okay, well,
we'll have to okay. So okay.
That's page 5. It's page 6, and they're just like, she's dead. And then the next page, she's like, I'm cool. They're like, yeah, we did it.
Well, my note for this like couple pages are like, oh geez, this is a downer. And literally, Nicole has like the fucking like nuclear explosion like shadow thing with her ring. And so, okay. So this panel, there's a panel where it's revealed that Nicole is alive again, but not really. It's the Miles Electric lights up with like green stuff. Tails goes yow. Sonic looks surprised, and Sally's in the background like with like a smile. And seemingly, I have to assume this was maybe some miscommunication somewhere between the writing team and the art team, because Sally shouldn't know Nicole is alive in this panel, and yet she's still smiling. which I was a tad confused by.
Well, I think what it is just that we gotta go. We gotta go.
Yeah, there's too
Which,
much.
at that point, I don't know why you did the fake out death anyway, but
I guess. A couple
it doesn't
other.
because that's the thing is that it doesn't even like when it happens, you're like, wait, what? And then you turn the next page, it's like, oh, I'm fine. It's like, wait, hold on, you were dead. What? Like you're like I didn't think Nicole died in the last issue. I just thought she got attacked.
Yeah, it was weird, and then also like, I don't know if if this is meant to be more ship bait with Sally and Nicole, because like, Sally's sad. Is this part of the Ian Flynn's like, oh man, I can't believe they let me get away with this. You know what I realized too? I was thinking about this earlier today. Is that Tangle and Whisper are gay as hell? So like he can clearly write gay subtext in Sonic.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what happened here with his like, yeah, Sally and Nicole are totally gay, but regardless.
Well, Chip is here. He's like Bunny and Antoine. You guys make out all the time and are super straight, and I love it. And then he goes, Nicole and Sally, your special bond is really cool. Wink, wink, nudge.
Those special bond rings you bought for one another.
Yeah. You were making
Anyway.
those special bond noises in the special bond room. I was really confused.
Jesus Christ, Ian.
What was on that iPad?
No. Oh God, no. Oh, I don't. Why did you put that image in people's brains, Ian?
And then what happened?
I like how Sonic's like, he's like, "Is everyone okay down here?" And Rotor just goes, "No."
Yeah, I did think that was funny. I was like, "Dang, Rotor, like you're upset." I appreciate. I thought it was funny that they didn't allow Sonic to react to Nicole being dead because he's not allowed to cry. Or whatever, haha mandates, la la la. I just thought it was really funny. They're like, "What's going on?" And he's just wandering around, being like, "Woo woo 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 woo," and they're like, "Nicole's dead, but don't draw Sonic."
Oh yeah, that's weird. I didn't even. Yeah, he's not. He's just not here. He's just not. He just disappears from the next 3 panels until it's revealed she's alive again.
Yeah, so he can go yow.
But he cries at the end of this story though, doesn't he?
No, he just clenches his fist and it kind of looks like he's going to.
Anyway, so my next note, because someone says Chip was taken, and my note was no, he didn't take Chip. Chip was a dumbass and flew right into him.
Chip sacrificed his life for stupidity, and it was not worth it.
Sacrificed his life. It's like someone like shoots themselves and it like doesn't really help the team that much. And you're like, yep, he sure did. He sure did something.
Oh, Donald Duck in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I don't. Kingdom Hearts fans in the audience, that's for you. I don't know what he's talking about.
That's for you to get mad at Ian for, not me. I still get mad at you somehow.
Oh my God, did we ever talk about that on the show?
No, go for it. Rage at your fans.
There was one guy who you specifically said, "I don't like you," because they had asked us if we were going to do Sonic the Comic. You specifically said to this person, "I dislike you," I think were your exact words. And then on that podcast, that person commented, "Man, Silver Racer 1's really fucking boring." Like, what did I do?
Or that just says that I am more entertaining insulting him than you are as a podcast host for the video.
Oh, jeez.
Is more offended.
Oh, jeez.
Which doesn't make any sense because I'm usually the one in the intros being like, haha, I'm dead. So, I don't know what his deal is.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But regardless, So okay, yeah, I wrote the note about her smiling when it's again. What I think, if I were to hazard a guess, was that this panel was written with the idea in mind that they were saying something to the effect of, "Wait, Nicole," or something like that. So that way, because like again, as it stands right now, I don't know. Who cares?
It's just fake out. Moving on. Nobody in the story cares. Let's go.
Okay. Then so yeah, they get taken. And one thing I like is that Cream is out for fucking blood here.
Yeah,
'Cause
she murders.
Yeah, because she's like, she's like fighting the hooligans, and she's like, we gotta go get him. And then General's like, no, Cream, you can have your murder after we save
Yeah,
people. And
calm
she's like,
down,
okay.
child. Yeah.
She's like,
I
okay.
haven't done anything in this comic. He's like, well, sucks to suck, Cream.
Yeah, but so, and then they're like, well, we sure are gonna do some stuff. And then we see a SWAT bot, which is fun. Because I feel like we have not seen robots of this kind in any of Reboot, to my knowledge.
They're probably around somewhere, but I don't think we like fought them.
Yeah, I mean it's a recolored SWAT bot, but it's definitely a SWAT bot. So that's pretty cool.
A SWAT butt.
What were they called when they like revamped them when Robo Robotnik showed up? Was it like Shadow Bots or something?
Shadow bots, yeah, which they were cool.
They were pretty cool. But so then okay, so Eggman's plan is
Oh no.
Eggman's plan is to he's like, okay, so here's what it's gonna do. It's gonna be really cool. Chip, you are gonna shit bricks when you hear this plan. All right, so here's the plan, right? All right, so I'm gonna take Dark Gaia and I'm gonna use his power to power the Death Egg. I'm waiting for your applause, Chip. Thank you very much. Like what?
Chip's just like, what's that?
That's the plan? That's your whole plan?
Yeah, I was thinking of that. I was thinking of that too, where I'm just like, and like,
Yeah, no,
like the
it's not
Death
like-
Egg hasn't done anything in this comic to warrant me being afraid.
Well, there's that, and there's like, so, at least in Sonic Unleashed, his plan ostensibly was, I'll have control of Dark Gaia. Like, Dark Gaia is the Death Egg. Why are you? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? And then he's like, and then it's even worse. It's even worse. Okay, so presumably, I'm gonna give this comic more credit than it deserves. Presumably, the thing is, I will have an infinite pool of energy that I can use to continuously refuel the Death Egg because I will have access to Dark Gaia.
I think he says that somewhere in the previous issues. I think that is established. Yeah.
Sure, whatever. But then he says, and I'm going to keep the world shattered so that way, things are still like off balance and in chaos. The world can't just stay shattered because eventually chaos is going to have to stop holding it together, right? And now, granted, Eggman, I guess, doesn't know that that's why things haven't, like, that's why any of them are still alive. But, like, what does he think is keeping them alive? Because
I guess it's more like from a meta perspective, again, like everything else in this arc, nothing actually really mattered in the end. Because like Eggman comes in, and he's like, I'm gonna fight Sonic. And like we'll get to it in part 3, but like literally, like Sonic just like beats him up, and there's no real like it doesn't feel like, wow, now that Eggman's out of the way, we stopped one part. It's just like, no, Eggman, like just move to the side. Like you're literally not even the point. Like I don't know. Yeah. It like they do the thing they do to him in the games, which is this like at the last second he gets screwed over, but they didn't even have the decency to have the god beat him up for it. Sonic just beats him up. He's like, all right, loser, just like can you leave for now. Like we only have like an issue left. Like he does nothing. And so again, it makes it even more lame that like we spent the first issue with like him being like sending in the battle birds to get the stuff, because then all he does, it's not that he loses everything in like spectacular fashion. He just pulls out the robot from Sonic Unleashed and Sonic just beats him. And that's it. And it's not even like a crazy fight or anything.
And that's the weird thing, is that they tease he's going to use the Gaia Colossus and Sonic is going to have to fight the Gaia Colossus. And that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, like, no, Eggman really just feels like a filler section for this part. And again, it doesn't even have the weight of Sonic Unleashed the game, where like at the very least the idea was like, he's like, oh no, this power has gotten out of control and it's getting really crazy. No, Sonic just beats him up. And then he's just like, well, I'm leaving now. Oh well. Like, yeah. I didn't win.
And, We'll get to that scene because I have some words on that scene too. But regardless, so okay,
the shot of him in the robot is awesome though. So I will say that.
That is cool. But so yeah, so then okay. So Sally gives like this rousing kind of speech, right? Where she's like, it's the scene that you see a million times where she's like, look, I know this is gonna suck, and we might not all make it out of this, and I'm asking a lot out of you. But normally, those scenes end with them going, I'm asking a lot out of you, and the other characters at the very least going like, well, you know what, we're with you till the end, or you know what, this is what we do. In this, Sally just goes, I'm asking a lot of you. Anyway, so here's what you're gonna do. Like, it's like
Yeah,
the
like
other characters are
yeah, go
denied
ahead.
any agency.
Yeah. Well, it just kind of feel again like this whole finale really just feels like okay. Like anytime a character does anything, you go, all right, yeah, whatever. Like there's no tension, there's no stakes really either. Like they don't feel like there's stakes. And again, I'll remind you, I mean, we'll get to it, but like by the end of this arc, they literally have a character say like Sally's just like, man, in the end, we just kind of fought a bunch of robots, but that didn't really matter because Dark Gaia's doing something. And then Antoine's like, but you know, like Eggman, that's a bunch of robots. Eggman doesn't have anymore. Like,
Yeah.
which means nothing, obviously, because he can build them off screen in a day. So, like,
Yeah.
so we really just waste time for 4 issues so that Sonic Unleashed can happen.
Yeah. But again, like I don't know. It's just that just seems so off to me. How she's like, I'm asking a lot of you, but so anyway,
Anyway, here's what we're doing.
It's not phrased like, you know, will you, my comrades, follow me into battle? It's like, no, you're gonna do this. Like, I understand. It's like when your boss at work goes like, hey man, so like a kid threw up in the aisle, and I know I'm asking a lot of you, but like,
It's like, but I have to do it. I work here.
Yeah, it's like, so he's like at least have Sonic go like, hey, you know what, Sal, we're with you till the end. Like, or like, I don't know. It's just something about it rubbed me the wrong way.
And Sonic is like almost seemingly like, I mean, he's worried, but it just feels more like, whoa, shit, no. Like, I don't know. Like, it just feels, the whole arc just feels very like tame and safe and fine. Like, oh, we're just doing stuff, I guess. And I mean, this is kind of like the epitome of what I don't like about Reboot Sally. It's just that all she does is just give the information that we need. Like I was telling you of that one page where she's just like, here's the 50 different things we have to do to stop Dark Gaia and the Death Egg. And you could have really just boiled it down to like, now we have to bum rush them. Like,
Yeah.
you know? And like, because that's what we do. So like, to me, it's just like, Sally, stop talking. I don't care what you have to say. Go away, please.
Yeah. But so, you know, then they go to Eggman Land. And it's interesting because, like, obviously Eggman Land is notorious in the games for, like, you know, it's super difficult and, like, you know, getting through it sucks. But they just go there. Like, they don't even do, like, a thing of Sonic having to, like, and I get it, that's page real estate. You know, like, just get to the point. Just get to him fighting the Egg Dragoon. But you'd think, like, even just for, like, a wink and a nod, they'd have, like, a page of him being like, whoa, man, Eggman went all out here. Like, it's not a big deal. It's just like something interesting I noticed. But yeah, this ending is cool. This last page of the Egg Dragoon facing off against Sonic's really dope. Like you said, I like how Eggman's silhouetted. It looks real neat. However, again, I think it's weird that they set up in this issue him fighting the Gaia Colossus. I think Eggman says something effective like, I can't wait to use this to squash Sonic. And then he doesn't. And I guess, they rationalize it away. They're like, oh, it's too big. It wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't let me like punch you properly. But it's like, I don't know. Something about it seems weird.
Then why just say it?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is like, you didn't have to say it then. You could have said like, oh, and like, or say the opposite. Say, have Chip go like, are you going to use this to fight Sonic? And have him go like, no.
I hate fun.
Like, yeah, like, I don't know. Also, I just had this realization when I looked at this page of Eggman in the Egg Dragoon saying a line from Adventure, doing an adaptation of Sonic Unleashed at the same time that like Sonic Lost World had like just come out, going like,
yeah,
like I was just thinking of like, what a weird era of Sonic this was. Like,
I mean, that's just Archie in a nutshell. That's always the funniest thing about like how Archie treats Shadow, where it's just like, Shadow, fuck you. You don't even get a full adaptation. You're just like chilling out in the background. You're not a cool character. Anyway, let's get back to Sally Acorn. And like, if you were reading the comic, like if you were just picking up, it's like, whoa, it's Shadow. And then it's just like, who are these people? Who's Fiona Fox? go back to Shadow. And the comic's like, dude, Shadow's a loser. He doesn't do anything.
We're gonna have to cover that SA2 adaptation at some point, because from what I've never read it fully. I've only like seen various images of it, but like they just do like weird like scenes out of nowhere, and then just go like, and then the next issue is like, yep, SA2 definitely happened. Like,
yeah, no, SA2 is completely just random in terms of what happened. Because to give you a little sneak peek of how bad it is, at that time, they like when they do the SA2 adaptation, they do try to say like, yeah, this is happening in universe with everything else. And they say like, hey kids, go play SA2 if you want to know what the story is, which would be literally impossible for the Archie, characters, because Knuckles is green at the time and doing other things. And Tails is not here. He is a robot.
Wait, Tails was a robot?
Or no, sorry. Tails at the time was fighting Green Knuckles.
Wait.
So they literally could not be in the SA2 adaptation, but the game's like, yeah, like SA2 fucking happened. Like, who even cares?
Yeah. Well, and then Shadow Saga is just like, maybe we can just go and like fill in some gaps there.
Yeah, that's Flynn like filling in the gaps, because I'll let you know, in Archie's version of Shadow's backstory, he literally wakes up the day that Maria gets shot and dies.
Oh,
so like they don't have like a life, or not lifelong, but they don't have like any time together to like be friends. Shadow wakes up and a mysterious girl sacrifices her life to save his, which, you know, is a good reason to still care about her, but it just makes it even more tragic.
Yeah, well, also it's like you're destroying the world for that? Like,
well, they establish in this that Gerald programmed Shadow to do it. So
okay.
They go with the memory alteration version of Shadow's backstory.
Oh, the version I hate, as we've established in previous episodes.
Well, I think it works out for Archie because, you know, then you don't have the problem you just mentioned.
Sure. It's still boring, though. It's still more interesting if he actually knew her and is actually sad and actually motivated to get revenge because he knew her. But anyway, regardless.
But, anyway, back to the boring thing. Actually,
back to
I'll talk about a cool thing. I'll praise the comic. I think that the actual fight between Sonic and Eggman, while I don't think it has any like, especially when he turns into the Werehog, I don't give a shit. But the actual scene where he's like running around the Colossus and like fighting the Egg Dragoon, I actually think looks really cool. Yeah, well, go ahead.
Well, real quick, that's the next issue. You didn't let me introduce the next issue.
Oh, but that happens at the start.
I mean, it kind of does, but like,
Page
you know,
3. What do you mean?
We have a format here, Ian, where I go and then we move on to the next issue, and I say the issue's title and I say it's part blank of blank, and then you go, yeah, and then Sonic does some shit,
and I go, whoa,
damn it. Also,
right, go ahead.
Real quick, I just want to say something. They have on the page that has the fan art, there's like a beautifully like painted shot of Sonic and Metal racing on Stardust Speedway that's like fucking gorgeous. That's literally right next to a child, like a 5-year-old's like scribbled drawing of Sonic.
Which one's this? Is this part 2?
This is part 2, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at this.
Keep talking. It's funny, and then below, like it's just like and then like there's a drawing of Tails that's like done digitally that like looks fine, but it's like it blows all of them out of the water. It's like, wow, that is
oh wow, yeah. Shout out to Joe Z.
Yeah, I hope Joe Z. I hope you got work somewhere, because that is fucking like
that looks incredible. They should hire that man.
Yeah, Sega, hire this man. I also just I really like this off panel where it's like the 7 Gaia temples are coming together and then they just smash into each other.
Oh, well, do we exchange insurance or what?
Yeah, I thought that was fun. But all right. Moving on to Archie, Sonic the Hedgehog, number 286, Panic in the Sky, part 3 of 4. So anyway, Ian, if you just want to say all that bullshit again about the Egg Dragoon fighting Sonic.
Yeah, they fight, and I thought it was neat. What'd you think?
Oh, that was fun. I don't know. It's cool. They borrow some stuff from various pieces of Eggman Land when he's running through. Like there's no, not Eggman Land. The Dark Gaia boss when he's running on the Gaia Colossus, because there are parts where you have to like run on walls and stuff, and they and you're bouncing around, and they borrow from that during this fight because they're one thing that is cool is that they are fighting on the Gaia Colossus.
Yeah, and I like some of the banter here where it's like, my friends don't need me to be up here. I'm counting on them to handle the rest of the plan, which means I'm free to handle you. And he goes, handle me, toy with, mess with, you take your pick. And he's on top of Eggman, and Eggman's just like, you know what? I'm just gonna bash my face into the ground, and I'll pick you out of the pavement.
Yeah,
So, I thought that was fun pettiness from Eggman. Just like, I'm gonna destroy my robot. Get the fuck off.
well, and it's interesting how the Egg Dragoon fight in Sonic Unleashed, a lot of people talk about it as like that's one of the moments in the games where Eggman is like the most unhinged, where like it's very like that's one of the moments in the games where like it's very clear he's like out for blood. And that doesn't necessarily come across here.
No, here it's just goofy.
Yeah. Which I think both work, but it's just an interesting point of
comparison.
comparison.
I think it's a problem here just because, again, I don't feel any stakes for this entire arc. And so Eggman just again being treated as like not like I need Eggman to always be treated as like the great threat. It's just more of like he is supposed to be the great threat. Like we were fighting him the whole game and or the whole arc, and like he just threw all those guys at us or whatever. And Sonic's just like, I'm fighting Eggman again. No big deal. It's just every day.
Yeah. Well, and that is the thing, right? Is like at this point, like they're not, from what I understand, they don't think like after this we got to fight Dark Gaia.
No,
they're thinking like,
yeah,
like for them, this is the big final boss. Like this is the end. Like this is it. So it's just it's interesting. That's like it's not necessarily treated with, and I guess because anyone reading this knows that that's coming with like probably very very few exceptions. And so they're like,
do it anyway, so that at least the story's better.
Yeah, that's fair. I would agree with that.
I will say one other thing is that I'm gonna channel my inner Sonic fan, and I'm gonna be mad at nothing. So here we go. He said, "Get a load of this." That's a line from the games. I hate references, but I thought it was cool. I liked it. It was fun.
I think it's fun.
Yeah, no. To me, like if I don't know if we've talked about it, I just don't like it when it's like music lyrics being used as like characters explaining their philosophies, and it's like, am I supposed to take this seriously? You're just quoting a song. Whereas like here, it's a line that makes sense. You know, he's saying, I'm gonna kick your ass. Get a load of this. So,
small doses is what I would say with those things. Like IDW, I genuinely really love the scene where Metal Sonic goes like, "Tell me your fall," and Sonic goes, "I never fear the fall."
Yeah,
like,
I liked that.
Like it's just it's first again, it's got to be quick. It can't be like you can't be quoting entire like stanzas, and it can't be like too close together. It would be my philosophy on that.
I agree. I'm glad you have a nuanced take. You're cool, Silver Ace. I wasn't unsure until now, but now I know.
Thank you. How many episodes in are we to this podcast?
How many times have I died?
Well, how weird is it that so apparently, according to last episode, the lore of our show is that you as a ghost spied on me and my ex-wife having an argument about whether or not Belle was going to die in IDW Sonic.
It's true.
And it's all real. So anyway,
I mean, you know, when the new head writer takes over, he can retcon whatever he wants. But for now, this is what we're going.
At the end of this, when we drop a big glowing orb, there'll be some crazy shit.
All right, then what happens?
Well, Eggman tries to kill Sonic with his big drill arm, and I do genuinely like this line where he goes, "I take over the world and you die."
Yeah, they say die quite a few times, and I like it.
And I appreciate when media, like, you know, for children or just in general, doesn't skirt around using like die, death, for a couple reasons. First of all, kill. For a couple reasons. First of all, I just think it comes off as clunky a lot of times when you're actively like trying to just avoid it at all costs. But also, I think it makes the points where you do say like there's a scene in the 90s Spider-Man cartoon where he's like pissed off and he goes, "I'm gonna find it and I'm going to destroy it." And like I feel like that line doesn't work as well if you say, "I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna kill it." Like I feel like you need to save destroy for like the really dramatic moments.
Yeah, I feel like kill and like die and all these things. I think what they do is they kind of like, you know, especially for something that is cartoony or whatever, it adds a sense of I guess humanity to it, of like you know, they're just openly saying like, oh, you know, someone can die or someone could be killed, you know. And that just feel like, but when you say like destroy or these other things, like it's very obvious, like, oh, there's kitty gloves on, you know, and like that isn't, you know, it doesn't always have to be a problem, but it's just more of like I appreciate it more when they do it, you know.
Well, and again, I think it's situational, because I think if you're talking about like a line like this where Eggman's quickly going like, I'm gonna do this and you're gonna do this, and like I think like you die works better. I think when you're saying like when someone goes like, oh god, we're all gonna die or something like that, I think again in those situations you would just say die or kill or like dead. Like you wouldn't say like, oh, he is no more. Like, you know, it's like shut up.
He's
so
mostly dead.
He's mostly but yeah, so anyway, yeah, like you said, he turns into the Werehog. He just wins. It's pretty boring.
Yeah, and the art also I just think takes a hit for that part. Like it looks really cool for the Sonic part of the fight, but I feel like the Werehog and like all the hits and stuff just look really lame.
Yeah, a little bit. But so anyway, then he goes and he saves Chip, and then but oh no! Wait a second. Dark Gaia. Oh no! He's waking up. It's bad. Ian,
Yep,
react.
I play. Oh no! Dark Gaia, he's back. It's bad. Silver Ace, react.
I did.
Oh, never mind. What happens next?
Well, I skipped over a line in my notes that confused me. So okay, so Rotor's fighting the Death Egg, and he goes, "We're still in one piece." I can't believe I'm saying this, but thank you, Eggman Tech, which I assume would just be a line of like he's being glad that like Eggman Tech is like it doesn't work right, and so it's not able to kill them. But then there's a little asterisk that says Sonic the Hedgehog Volume 1, and so it's like what? Like,
maybe are they using Eggman Tech for their stuff? Maybe
I don't know. It just, but well, more importantly, it's like why? Like I don't understand how that's a reference. Like,
yeah,
it feels like at best I'm sure there's something in. I mean, I would hope in Volume 1 there's something that like he's subtly referring back to, but that doesn't feel worthy of like they refer to things that happened in the past all the time without feeling the need to specifically say like, oh, it happened here, because if they do that, all of these would have fucking asterisks on them. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so Dark Gaia, he wakes up, he pulls the Dark Gaia energy out of Sonic and out of a bunch of shit, and they're like, oh no, fuck. And so it's real bad. And then Chip has this moment where he's like, oh no, all my friends, I can't fail them. I met them for at least 20 minutes. Like there are so many people here he's thinking of that he like. Did he even exchange words with some of these people? Like,
I mean, probably not. But yeah, no, that whole page feels like I think Ian I think even Ian Flynn said like he's like, yeah, I could have done a way better job making like it like Chip actually likable or cool at all. Like, well, because like this moment of like, oh man, all the people, it's like, yeah, there sure were a lot of story arcs we went to, but Chip, who the fuck are you? Like, I don't, you know?
Yeah, but so then
this is where the arc I think completely not falls apart, but completely just goes into autopilot. Now we're doing Sonic Unleashed. Anything else that was like unique about this comic is gone now, because now we're just doing Sonic Unleashed.
Yeah. But so they're like, but he's like, Sonic, we have to fight him. And he's like, don't worry, bud, I got you. And then he becomes Supersonic. And I will say his face when looking at Supersonic is fun.
I also like this is a scene where I actually thought like the framing and like the coolness of like a scene, like stuff is happening was cool, which is that Sonic is, while he's talking to Chip, running in like a circle by all the emeralds throughout the room. And I just think that's cool. Like he's powering up while talking.
Yes, I agree. And also this last page is pretty dope where they're like, they're facing off. It's neat. But so then my next note is this off panel is fun, but I don't remember what the off panel was. Oh, it's when they act like as if it's like they have Dark Gaia, but what if Dark Gaia was just like an evil version of Chip?
Yeah, and she's like, it's me, Scourge.
Yeah,
they're like, all right, we're not doing this.
That's fun. Alrighty.
Yep, fine finale. And again, just to clarify, this one is done by Tracy Yardley. So
yes. So Archie, Sonic the Hedgehog, number 287, Panic in the Sky, part 4 of 4.
As was foretold.
Yes. I see what you did there.
I mean, that's what the title is.
Wait, what?
Yeah, part 4
shit!
finale, as was foretold.
I thought you were making a 4 pun.
No, I'm not that clever. You said it, not me. Yeah.
But regardless, so they're fighting, and my first note is Rotor doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, I actually liked that scene a bit. Like, that was actually one of the few scenes in this whole thing I liked, where Rotor's like, bro, like, let's face it, we're all like name nobody. Let's just chill and have a brewski. What do you think, Antoine? and that's what they do. And then, like, you know, and that's it. And again, this is where they reveal, like, just point blank to the audience. Sally's like, man, we didn't do shit, did we? And then Antoine's like, well, we at least destroyed like some super badniks and a whole base. You know, that's got to count for something. Like, Eggman will rebuild it off screen, and it won't be, you know, and then they'd move on.
Yeah, and here's the thing that I think is another penalty of just the book being canceled, much like, you know, how I talk about with Preboot, is like, because for all intents and purposes, this is the finale of rebooted Archie Sonic. Like, you know, for like, yeah, we have Genesis of a Hero, which is like the throwback, and like I said, Shattered is basically like the epilogue to this, but that's completely different characters, and most of them are not the characters that the main book focuses on. So like this is the finale of Archie Sonic, and my note is, so in the final hours of their comic, the Freedom Fighters watch Sonic win.
Indeed.
Which, like, I get it. Like, what, like, realistically, what are they gonna do here?
Yeah, but that's why you should write a better story.
Well, actually, okay, Ian, hear me out. Power Rangers. They help Chip pilot the Gaia Colossus.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think Flynn would be being told at this point, now, Ian, a lot of YouTube comments are saying that Sonic Unleashed is like a cult classic. So you have to do respect. You have to do it exactly like in the games. It's like, why didn't you just do your own spin on it? Why did he just do it verbatim? Like, he just did the finale of Unleashed again. There is no Archie anything happening to like make this a finale.
Well, I mean,
I don't get it. Why wouldn't you just do what you said? Just make it to where like Chip is in the robot and he's just like, oh, but my powers are so weak. How am I going to control this thing? You know, because like, I don't know, maybe Eggman. And then like one by one, each page is like one of the Freedom Fighters going in and like, what are you guys doing? It's like, you heard us when we started this. You're not doing this alone, are you? And then it's like, Sonic, what are you going to do? It's like, I'm going to take a more direct approach. And then he goes super. And it's like, friends. And then, you know, they have their big shot or whatever of all the different characters. And they say, just who the hell do you think we are? And then it says Gurren Lagann. But, you know, why don't they just do that?
Yeah, like, well, because again, if you're already trying to pretend like any of these characters like knew or liked Chip, like, like have them join him in the Gaia Colossus, and like if nothing else, like the power of their like friendship or whatever, like boosts him and makes it so he can win. Yeah, because again, like, and they don't even do that. They don't even do like the thing that like plenty of like anime or like tokusatsu or whatever do, where it's like the characters are on the side, but like they call out and like their chance of motivation or push
Sonic just sees they're gonna get shot by a laser beam. He's like, fuck that.
Sonic has to save them. Sonic doesn't, like, they don't do anything helpful. Like,
yeah, it's literally just like, we got to this point where like, wait, what do they do? I guess they just hope real hard, which again would work if like the stakes actually felt like, all right, we did all we could, and now it's like, you know, because, you know, that happens at Shonen, where, you know, it leads up to the main character and he's got to do, you know, what needs to be done to finish the job. But here it just feels so weightless. It's just like, okay, whatever.
Or if nothing else, and you would need to do a little bit of rewriting, but I don't think it would take too much, have each one of them have a Chaos Emerald. Like maybe like each one of them has to get a Chaos Emerald and give it to Sonic. Like there's like, there's 5 Freedom Fighters, so then Sonic could get one, and then I don't know, maybe Eggman has one on him and Sonic takes from him. Like, again, I guess, and again, it's another thing of like, well, I would say they didn't know, but even if they did, again, this is the finale of the arc that they've been doing for years at this point.
Yeah, so, this is the finale of the arc. No excuses.
Like, regardless, they should do something.
That's just what, that's what frustrates me, is that they literally just decide, let's just do Sonic Unleashed. Who fucking cares? Like, and that's the ending.
Yeah. So, oh god. So my next. Okay, so there's the scene you're talking about where he's like, oh no, so Dark Guy grabs Chip and he's gonna blast him, and Sonic goes, well, I don't really give a fuck about Chip, but if he blasts Chip, the energy might also hit my friends. So he goes and he knocks the hands off of him like you do in the boss fight. And I'm gonna be frank here, Ian. I don't know what's happening on this page because he knocks the hands.
Yeah, I looked at it too, and I was like, "Wait, what did he do?" Yeah,
and some green fire shows up, and I think the green fire.
Blocking.
Yeah, okay, so he's using that to like propel himself back, and then okay, I think I figured it out, but
he's
it's a little
blocking. Yeah.
Well, that he's blocking the laser shot, but I mean when he's just like going back.
Oh yeah, like, no, the page is a bit like this again. This is why I'm like, what happened? Because I'm looking at this page and it's just like you don't even like when I was looking at it, I was like, he's like, I gotta save my friends. And then I looked at Sonic and I was like, Sonic, are you gonna go save your friends? And then I was like, it's like, wait, why is Chip off him? It's like, oh, I guess he hit the hands. Like it just you don't feel any impact, and all the colors are so saturated,
Yeah. But so
it blurs.
And then Eggman's like, welp, I sure did lose.
He does sure do that.
And then, but he's like, well, but wait, if I could just like drain the energy from the planet, well, maybe I'll do that someday. And my note is, stop teasing Lost World. Nobody cares. Okay. I guess I do have a bit of like morbid curiosity about like what that arc would have looked like if they had been allowed to do it. But also like,
well, and I don't know if that's what they were do because I know that we know what the immediate plans for the comic were, which is that the next Sonic Universe arc was going to be about setting up all of the Freedom Fighters going their own way to like do their own storylines. So like Sally was going to team up with Cream and Amy to go on an adventure. Antoine was going to go on an adventure and like do some stuff with like his family and like that whole thing. He was going to have like a new rival. Bunny was going to have found out to come from the Soul Dimension and hang out with Blaze. And then I don't know what Rotor was going to do.
Yeah. Speaking of which, at some point I don't know if it's appropriate for right now, but maybe when at a better time, I need to talk about my headcanon with the Soul Dimension with Archie Sonic. But regardless, okay, so stop teasing Lost World. Nobody cares. Yeah, well, I don't think that would have been the next arc, but I think they probably were going to
maybe like long term.
Yeah, I think again we saw the Deadly Six in Worlds Unite, and then he's they kept talking about like the conch, and here he's saying this. Like I think they would have gotten to it.
I think it's really funny that all the characters are like, whoa, the world's going back to normal, and then the only people who are upset is for some reason Vector, who's just like, what's happening? It's like, you're not gonna get the memo, buddy. Like he looks really scared.
He does. He looks so scared.
He actually sees beyond the fourth wall and he sees Ken Penders with his knife. And, and he's just like, I don't want to ruin everyone's fun.
Oh no, he knows the book's about to get canceled.
Yeah, he knows. He's like, they're all celebrating. The fools. They don't know.
He's like, well, at least I'll be safe. Sorry, Sally.
Yeah, at least I get my arc.
You should help me pay that fucking college debt.
Well, we won't have money where we're going.
If you don't get that reference, audience, go back and listen to whatever the Knuckles
all
and
our videos until you find it.
Yes, on loop constantly. But regardless, Sonic they kill Dark Gaia and then he unsupers, and it's interesting that I wrote that this kind of strengthens my headcanon about the Chaos Emeralds, that they basically stick around as long as they're needed, because in terms of canon, like a lot of times, obviously, like in like versus matchups or whatever, they go like, yep, the Chaos Emeralds have a set time limit and then they go away and regardless of whether or not Sonic still needs them. But that's never happened in canon. Like they've always just kind of like, as far as I can remember in like Sonic X or the comics or even like cutscenes of the games, there's never been a concern about Sonic running out of time as Supersonic. And here is the only illusion of him being like that it's finite in any way. Of him saying I'm out of super. So I think.
I mean, in like the boss fights, obviously your rings are depleting, and the characters will say stuff.
Well, yeah, but that's a game mechanic, and that's really the only place we've seen it. But in terms of like more like anytime like the story takes over, I mean, it's not usually a factor.
Okay.
So basically, like again, my idea was just like the Chaos Emeralds have some level of sentience, and they know like when what they're needed for is over. Because Sonic even goes like, "Well, I can't help because the Chaos Emeralds went away," and Chip's like, "Nah, don't worry, I got it." And so they put the world back together, and it's just super cool. And Vector looks scared, and it's a nice page. You know, you get to see all the various characters we've seen throughout the arc, or I guess this like saga. And again, I don't give a single fuck about Chip. Like, I'm sorry, but they want this to be sad, but I don't care.
Yeah, I will say the only thing I like about the scene is more like concept wise. I like the framing of like the fist and be like, it's not fair, Sal. We get to keep going, blah blah blah. You saved him or whatever, and then he clenches his fist and he kind of looks like he's holding in his tears because like his mouth is a little squiggly. He clenches his fist like, yeah, it's gonna be okay, and then he gets the little ring and then he puts it on and they go, you know what, we saved the day and we get to watch the coolest sunset. Like I like that in a vacuum, but
yeah.
Like, because I think that's
fair.
genuinely like well paced and like framed, and like and again like the idea of like it's like time's still going for us, and we get to see this cool sunset, and then obviously you have Chip hugging the world. It's like, man, if I cared, then would have done a good job.
Yeah.
Hey, at least the story gets to end with Sonic having his arm around Sally platonically.
Yeah. Yep. You sure did, but. Yeah, so like I said, I mean, we talked about this before. He says his goodbye to all the different people. It talks about Sally's bond with Nicole.
Your special bond.
My next, I wrote the note about the bond, and then my next note literally is, "Wow, I don't care."
Wow, Ian's gonna say some shit, and I'm gonna have to get real mad.
But yeah, and then like you said, like again, it's a nice scene. Like I like the scene. And again, like in terms of like again, this is basically the end of Archie Sonic, and for being that, I think it works pretty well. Like I think this last page of them all being like, "Yep, we won. It's over. Like let's enjoy the sunrise."
Yeah, and like from a big picture perspective, it's just nice of like in our old world we all fucking died, but here we didn't. And that's at least okay. So the end.
Yeah.
So I'm happy on that level.
Yeah, and then I wish the last page was this one with the freedom fighters and not Chip hugging the planet, because like who gives a fuck? But I'm supposed to give a fuck. I know. So
yeah, you're the problem.
Whatever. I'm the problem. Yeah, I know. But yeah, and then we get the off panel, which is it's a cute picture of Sonic and Chip having lunch. And that's it for Panic in the Sky. I'm gonna be honest. I thought I liked it more than I did.
No, it's pretty bad.
It's not great. Yeah,
no, it's pretty bad.
At first I was like, well, it's not great, but it accomplishes what it sets out to do, which is be like just a big blowout finale.
And then you're like, wait, no, it doesn't.
Yeah, I don't know if it even does that. So like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd give it a 4. It failed. Bad job.
I'll give it a 5.
You thought it was fine?
I think
you didn't think it was a complete disappointment.
Well, again, while I was reading it, I didn't have too many I had problems with it, obviously, that I mentioned, but it was fine. Like I think it's fine. I don't begrudge I don't look at this and go, man, this was the finale of the Sonic comics. It's like, no, it is what it is, and it's fine. I think it's got some nice moments. It's got some standout bits, and while they're buried in some not so great stuff, there's not a lot of bad in this, I would say. I think the worst of it is just kind of there.
Indeed. So yeah.
But yeah, I guess
reboot, baby.
Yeah. What? But we're not done yet. We still have three more arcs to go.
Yep, and all of them are better than this, so I'm excited. 2 of them, one of them, in fact, I think is one of the best Archie stories ever. So I'm excited.
Man, I'm gonna be annoying as fuck next episode because we finally get to see Shadow and Amy interact.
Yeah, and she's dating Knuckles.
No, she is not. Is this gonna are we? Is this gonna be next episode? Is this?
I hope so. I will just bully you the whole time about how like you're interpreting it wrong.
Well, maybe you're interpreting it wrong.
But I
Yeah.
can't be because I'm telling you that you're wrong. So only one of those things can be correct, and I would imagine it would be me, right?
Are you a commenter right now? Is that what this is?
I am New Horizon.
No, we like him. He's them. They're a regular. Don't.
Oh, I like them too. I just am them. I love me. You should probably end this before I ruin this anymore.
But yeah, no. So come back for that. Like I said, we are gonna be, by we I mean me, because Ian doesn't edit shit.
That's
are
right.
gonna be putting together a compilation episode of the best moments of these episodes of the rebooted Archie Sonic. So please comment down below what some of your favorite moments have been from the podcast, so that they can be included. But yeah. Anyway, Ian, you want to plug your stuff before you go?
Yeah, I'm Ian Waffles on Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz. I'm actually working on a Archie Sonic video where I analyze Archie Sonic as a character. It should be like 45 minutes or so, and that should be out in February. So look forward to that.
Yeah, you can find me here. You can find me at the Silver Ace 01 on Twitter, and yeah. So, but with all that being said, come back next time for Shattered, and take care, everyone.
Bye.